Hey guys, I don't usually do these kind of videos, but just due to some recent things that have come up in my life, I've kind of figured I'd throw some wisdom on people who might be coming up into my shoes at some point or something like that. Just giving out some advice as Unk. A lot of people tend to call me Unk because I'm 20. I feel a little, but in reality, in my life, it's barely starting. But yeah, it's kind of a little story on how Minecraft really it pulled me away from a lot of people that I should have been socializing with, should have known or got to know better, and ultimately how it came to repair and really build some bridges with some people that I really enjoy being with. Unfortunately, some of them are going to be graduating, and so I won't really get to be with them much longer. Just a few more months here and there, but making the most of it. So yeah, let's get started. Sorry if my narration is kind of shit. I'm really just free balling right now. I don't have a script or anything. I just kind of have a general idea of what I want to say, and I hope it'll be of use to you, maybe. But yeah, about 4 years ago, I got into Minecraft a little more. I was watching some videos. I don't know why I'm talking about myself in the third person. I was watching some videos here and there. I was really addicted to playing Clash of Clans for a hot minute. That was a really fun game for me. I really enjoyed it. All throughout high school, I really enjoyed playing video games, mainly because this was right around the COVID time, so a lot of people ended up playing video games and stuff too. So it really became a huge staple of what I would be doing with my life. I also enjoyed doing a lot of other stuff. I played a lot of sports, played baseball, played football, got into tennis a little later, but that was kind of more in my early college era. And I also played a lot of airsoft. I had a little airsoft channel and everything. I absolutely love playing airsoft. Still have that equipment, but I never have time to use it anymore because I have to travel so much and it costs a lot of money to operate. But yeah, sorry, let me get back on track. So I was getting back into Minecraft. I don't know, into Minecraft. I'd already played Minecraft plenty in my life, obviously, as many of us had, but it really kind of hit home for me because I don't know, I started watching these little MCPE Bedrock montages of Skywars, and I was like, dang, this is right around the time Techno was popular too, I think, and I wanted to play Skywars, but I didn't have a PC. And so I kind of settled for the next best option, which was Bedrock Edition. So I played on my phone. I got a controller for my phone, one of those hold-on controller things. And so I started playing on that. Started god bridging, and dude, it was so fun. I was good as crap at it. I would play CubeCraft, Cake Wars or Egg Wars or whatever it was. So fun. Lo and behold, speed a little bit up. Unk got a computer. And so I was like, dang, this is the first time I could run Java Edition. And so I was going ham, playing some hardcore worlds. And I went through my little 2-week phase, and it kind of got burnt out. And then I'm like, oh, multiplayer, I should learn how to do that. Sorry, I just got a ping. And so I was like, okay, let me play this multiplayer stuff. And I played some servers, not a lot, and I kind of realized that I wasn't good at PvP on this version. My PvP skills compared to Bedrock Edition when we were on controllers. Now I'm on a shitty mouse with a shitty PC. Well, what I thought was shitty, and we'll go into that later. But I was only getting 60 FPS or something. And I had just a laptop keyboard, and so I was like, dang, I don't really know how this system works, let alone the fact that it was I didn't really have good setup per se. I mean, you don't really need an amazing setup to be good at this game, but I mean, in reality, I didn't have the greatest setup, and I was just new to this shit. I didn't know what I was doing, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch some videos. And this was also right around the time, if I recall, that I started looking up the PvP metas and the best PvP thing. And this was when Crystal, Vanilla Crystal, was becoming popular. And so I was like, okay, let me learn this new thing. And everybody was like, oh, LARPing that, oh, this is the hardest, this is the craziest game mode ever. It takes so much skill, and at the time, obviously, it was hard. It still is hard. It's still a very hard game mode, or way of combat, so to speak. Not to be some stupid internet LARPer on the Crystal PvP community. It's just a hard way of like combat. And so I started learning how to do that. The Rasplin and Golfey videos were just like, they were, oh my gosh, I wanted to learn how to like do that stuff. And, you know, hold on, Brisk is calling me. And so, you know, I started watching those videos, and low-key, I started doing it, and I really sucked for a long time. I mean, there's some old footage, some archived footage somewhere of me like learning the PvP and stuff, and it was bad. But anyways, I really started grinding this because I would also play on SMPs with my friends, and I wanted to kill them really fast, and so I became pretty good at Crystal PvP for the time. And this was right around the time, I'd say this is right around the time that I was getting into college. At this point was when I started getting good. And then I got into college after I was relatively good at, you know, Crystal PvP. Obviously, this has nothing to do with my real life. I was doing other stuff. I'm in college for music or whatever, so I'm really good at trombone. I shouldn't have phrased that way. I worked really hard to get where I am, and I got myself into a good spot where I am. Okay, I guess you could say I'm good at trombone, whatever. But so that's what I was like. My life wasn't focused around Crystal PvP, but slowly I wanted to get better and better. And I'm a really competitive person. All throughout when I was playing sports, I'd say that I spent a lot of time getting better and practicing and stuff. And then when COVID hit, unfortunately, like a lot of my teams that I was on, just like they stopped playing for a while, obviously because COVID hit. And so I had nothing to do, so I played video games, and I got really good at them. And so that was fun. And so yeah, I'm a really competitive person, so I really started grinding the PvP aspect, because I wanted to be that one player, like that Rasplin or that Dreamer at the time, where it was like you were feared. You stepped onto a server and people would shiver their timbers, you know, at you or whatever. You know, kind of LARPy, but it was cool, and I thought it was cool. So that's what I wanted to do. And so longer and longer I practiced PvP, and then I learned, oh, there's like survival Minecraft servers dedicated to this kind of PvP. I don't know what kind of outreach this video is going to get, but you know, just to throw a few servers out there. Purity Vanilla, well, actually no, Purity Vanilla was an Anarchy server, but there were things like Vanilla Plus and Classic Survival and Fight to Survive that really had like they were geared towards PvP to an extent. I don't know. It was a huge part of their server. It still is, honestly, for a lot of them. But yeah, let me get back on track here. So I started practicing and really getting good at this Crystal PvP thing, and then it started becoming super mainstream. So this is literally fast forwarding like 1 or 2 years throughout my college experience, but because I was getting into a new environment, I didn't really know these people. I lost my main group of friends from high school. I mean, as you usually do when you go off to college, and we didn't really like. We still talk, obviously. Or not obviously, but we still talk, and I'm really good friends with a lot of these people, and especially when I'm home on breaks, we hang out all the time, like almost every day of the break, man. Like, but it's not the same not being with your high school buddies, and so I had to make new friends, and I did make some new friends. My roommates at the time, well, my suite mates, my roommate was abysmal, but my suite mates at the time were super chill dudes. Not really into all that crazy party and stuff, so we just kind of hang out and do some stuff. But in my field of degree, the way that schools are structured is it's not just one like broad class where you can just like meet like hundreds of people per class that you go to. In my degree of study, which is music, and music performance specifically, there's what's called studios, and so there's a studio for my instrument that has like about like anywhere from 10 to 15 people, so a pretty small studio, right? And unfortunately, at the time, the studio like build up, like makeup, was going through a lot of what word do I use here? It was going through a lot of like stress. There's a word that I'm looking for. There was a lot of tension, and I didn't really like know that, and I'd reach out to people that and try and like be friends and friendly and hang out, and they'd kind of push me away, because I was kind of a new hotshot, also because like I won a full ride scholarship to where I'm going, so I was like a new hotshot kid, and I don't really know if that was the vibe, but that's kind of like what I'm seeing right now. Like, they didn't really want to hang out. I'm not a weird kid or anything. I have my own issues, but like, I was a fairly normal kid, but they just like, there was so much like tension within these like small group of people that I would see many times a week, and so I kind of just stuck to my own business. In the same time, I also started dating this girl right around the beginning of college, and she was like the main focus of my life at the time. It may sound corny or whatever, to each their own, but I really cared about this girl. Still do. We are no longer together, however, we do still talk occasionally. Long distance kind of just got in between us. I will say it's mostly my fault what happened, but long distance really just kind of killed it, regardless of what I did or not. We're still on good terms, but yeah, that's a topic for another time. So yeah, I kind of felt really pushed away by these people, and actually it's kind of interesting, but some of these same people I had gone to like a little summer like camp thing with, and they were older people in the studio, and they had been like the camp administrators or whatever, so to speak, or like the student. They would keep an eye on the students, and they were super chill and super lenient. They really kind of let us do whatever. And those two specifically, I don't know, I felt like they didn't really want me around as much as other people. And honestly, it's fine. I'm not going to be buddy with everybody that I know, but I really wanted that to be the case, and it wasn't. And that kind of hurt. And it's like whatever. First year was a little rough for me. I would say it went fairly well. I just say I didn't really make any friendship connections on it, and so I was kind of just stuck with like talking to my girlfriend, and I would occasionally argue with my parents. Actually, it was pretty frequent at this time. So I really only socially had Minecraft and my girlfriend, and so I didn't really think this was an issue. I didn't really think about it. I just kind of went on. I was like, oh, this is just the norm, right? And so, sorry. So let's fast forward a little bit. First year goes by, and I didn't really make any new friends. I was obviously friendly with everybody who was in the studio, and we had some good times. There were some hangs in there, but like I never really made that deep connection that I did with that I had like with my friends from high school or my girlfriend. Obviously, like you're not gonna have the same emotional connection to a girlfriend that you are gonna be with your friends. It's gonna be different, in a good way. In a good way, definitely. But I would say definitely different. And so, second year comes by, and this super cool dude, we're chill now and everything. He comes along, and he actually was my roommate for that same camp that the two people were like the administrators for. He was my roommate for that. I got really close to him within those like 2 or 3 weeks that we had the summer camp, and I heard that he was going to try and come to this school as well. And so it was like, oh yeah, dude, this is going to be great. I'm going to have like the best friend here. Like, I'll have some other friends, but this is going to be like my best friend, because we really like hit it off, man. Not in like not in a gay way, obviously, but like we became super good friends. And but yeah, I was like, okay, dude, I'm so glad that he's coming here. Like, I'm actually gonna have somebody that I'm familiar with beforehand hopefully reach out and be friends with me. so that comes along. He comes in, so this is second year of college, and he friends with those two people that were like the proctors for the summer camp, and they formed like this little trio, this little power trio, and they don't really include me in anything. Like, obviously I wasn't like expecting to be, I was hoping to be included. I don't like to force myself onto things, but I wasn't really expecting for them to, I didn't get backlash, so to speak, but they just didn't like invite me to like things, and I wasn't really included in things, and I try and talk to them, and it kind of felt like I was just getting shut out. And so like all of the familiarity that I had with this new place, even after 1 year of not really doing anything, was just all gone. Like, I had a little bit more hope, and so now I kind of felt just like shut out. And also second year, I actually, because, well, I'm not going to blame it on this, but I will say that due to certain circumstances of me getting more like hung up in Crystal PvP, and less so, because I also was, I will say that I was very addicted to Crystal PvP at the time, so I was really grinding to get there, and also like I didn't feel like I was very welcomed. I wouldn't say that I really hated it. It wasn't amazing. I was just kind of neutral about it, and so I would spend a lot of my time just PvPing after, and I wouldn't spend as much time practicing as I would at home, and so I kind of lost some of my skill in trombone. Got really good at Crystal PvP. I mean, put that on my resume or something. Sorry, let me gather my thoughts real quick. But yeah, anyways, so I felt super shut out by this group of people, and I was really hurt, low-key, and I don't really have anybody. And then a lot of people graduated, and so it was like a completely fresh, almost like half the people were just completely fresh and new. And so it was like almost like a reset. And these two guys come in, Kyler and Nico, the two grad assistants, and they come in and they kind of are talking to us, and they're like, hey, what's going on here in the studio? Like the, like, kind of like little pockets of people, and they don't really like, they just kind of function in pockets and not really as a group. It's not okay. It's not normal. And they're like, yeah, this is just not how it was ran. Obviously, every place is going to be different, but they're like, yeah, this is just not cool. So we all got together, and we were like, okay, let's do something about it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to start showing up and trying to like reach out to people, because, initially I'd felt shut out, and I didn't want to overstep my place. I felt like it wasn't my place to like overstep and get myself invited to things and hang out with people and like ask to do all of that. When in reality, I definitely should have been. Obviously, like, there's a healthy way to try and like socialize with people without overstepping your like bounds of where you are and where you're supposed to be, and trying to butt yourself in the way of friendships and everything. And so I was like, okay, let's do that. And I decided to create a Minecraft server. And it's like everybody LARPs about those like school SMPs, right? It's like, oh, school SMPs, and I thought it was I low-key thought it was corny. Or I was like, yo, this is kind of corny, but because also at the same time, I had experience with making Minecraft servers and playing Minecraft, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna pretend like I'm not a nerd, but I'm gonna offer to make a Minecraft server. And they're like, yo, this is kind of dope. I like this guy. And for some people, this was like some of their beginning interactions with me, and for some people, this was like a new side of me, to see. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna set up this this server. So I set it up, and it goes really well, and people were on it like, oh my gosh, I would stay up till like 2 or 3 a.m. building with some people who I really never interacted with this much, and we'd stay on like these Discord calls for hours and hours and hours on our breaks. And now this was stuff that I was used to, because I had plenty of friends on like Discord that I got like super close with, and like I would almost consider them like IRL friends to a degree, just because of like the level that we got so close together, and we still are. There's like so many people, like Mr. the Shoebox, Fox on top, those guys, like just super good friends. And like that was like a little power trio, dude. Like, had some amazing times. But yeah, anyway, sorry, that's a little side tandem. And I kind of got to realize, like, dang, this is really what it is to socialize with people. Obviously, not just Minecraft. I also was supplementing, like, going, like, hanging out at more events and, like, going out to, like, just some coffee in the morning with some friends. Like, obviously, you know, Unk stuff. But I was reaching out, and they were reaching out, more importantly. And, you know, after one of these times, it got to the point in the world where it was time to beat the Ender Dragon. And for, I think it was a decent number. I think it was like 3 or 4, maybe 5 of the people had never beat the Ender Dragon before. And I was like, dang, that's pretty dope. And I think I have like a few times just like by myself, maybe like once or twice. But I've done it plenty of times with friends, done it on other servers, stuff like that. And so this was a huge thing for many of the people. And so I made this whole event out of it. I think it was like 15 of us. I'll probably put some clips on the screen because this is a voiceover. I'm gonna try and do like as little cuts as possible, but sorry, just a little cut there. I was hoping that my yap session wasn't cut off, but it was not. So yeah, there was like 10 or 15 of us. Almost the entire Trombone Studio got on, and I made it so that you could join on phone too. So some people were on like other like consoles or whatever. So we all got on. We went and we defeated the Ender Dragon, and it was like super fun. We were all on call, and like, you know, some people died. I wish I had the recording. I think I do. Somebody got launched so far, and they were like screaming, and then they died of fall damage. It was so funny. I'll have to see if I can find the clip. It was super funny, but yeah, we had a lot of fun. And then one of the guys who was one of the original people that was like the proctors at the camp, he messages me after, and he's like, hey, I'll put it on screen, but like, he's like, hey, this is some of the most like fun I've had in years playing video games, and I really appreciate what you did. And this was like probably one of the first like deep connections that I were in, like real vulnerability that I had with somebody in the studio, except for maybe that one guy who was my roommate, because we did get close, but I did kind of get shut out for a little bit, at least, by him. And I really kind of realized there, like, just the issues that I had with being addicted to like Crystal PvP and not playing that much, let alone the fact, or despite the fact that there was issues in the studio and they weren't really trying. I didn't try enough, and there are some people that I just should have talked to more. I really regret that I lost out on like 2 years of some people that I had with them, and I never really like talked to them that much, or I did talk to them, but I didn't really get to know them, and I was never really around because I'd be playing Crystal PvP or doing other shit. And you know, in that moment, I kind of realized like all that stuff and what I could do and the power that I had. So for the next like 2 weeks or something, maybe like week and a half, the server was super live, and I got to talk to all these people like all the time. We'd be on Discord calls, and then we'd go to school the next day and be talking about it. Like, and also I would keep the server like updated to the newest versions. This was when there was like they were like spam updating subversions of like 1.21, and so it was so cool. There was new updates. There was like the mesas and new biomes and all this other stuff for us to test out. It was super cool. And then school started back up after winter break, and server died. I wasn't surprised by any means. This obviously, like, you know, all servers are gonna eventually die out. Nothing will really be left of them. But, you know, I kind of realized and looked back, and I was like, I had some great times, and I'm gonna take this to the real life. And so, even though school started back up, and we were all really busy, I really started hanging out with some of these people, and some of these people this was my last year with, and I didn't really realize it until probably a few months into the first semester, and I was like, wait, these are some people that I deadass have spent almost 3 years here with now, and I've barely got to know them. At least to the level that I would want. Obviously, we were friends. We saw each other all the time. We were super friendly and had great times, played good music together. But I'd never had that connection with them. And especially that one person who I would say I really looked up to. I still look up to him. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. I'm not gonna say his name, but if he ends up watching this video, maybe I'll send it to him. He really helped me. He's a funny guy, and he helped me through a lot of this stuff. And even though I kind of felt out, like a little shut out by him, he really he decided, or I decided, after I decided to like reach out more, and I guess maybe he did too. It really made me feel at home where I am right now, and I really appreciate it. But depending on when this video gets posted, this will probably be my last 2 months with them. Let alone the other people that have played the server and I've reached out to, and just some outstanding people, good role models, good companions, and this is my last few months with them. But Minecraft really, sorry, to sum this all back up to the Minecraft, like, really opening them up in my life. Sorry. That server that I made, still running, some people still get on. It was the first step of me reaching out to people in a way that was both familiar to me and familiar but also new to them. And it showed them a side of me that I'd never shown before, because, you know, I never really talked about being a Minecraft nerd. But they also got to reach out to me in a way that wasn't like just asking me to go hang out or whatever. And then it led to us becoming really, really good friends. And now I spend like, I mean, there was like 4 nights in a row where we were all out, like, just, you know, partying, doing college stuff, having a good time. I get back at like, you know, 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. So like time that I'd usually spend in my room alone gaming, I now spent with those people, not specifically because of the Minecraft server that I made, but I would say highly contributed and definitely helped me reach out to them. And obviously not everybody's just going to be able to make a Minecraft server and be like, hey, join us and we can have a lot of fun and we can become really best friends. But it was a way that it helped me with my life. It's currently at 12:22 a.m. right now for me, and obviously at night, you know, I'm sure everybody's familiar with like the feelings that happen after a certain time of night. And I'd always wanted to make videos like this. Maybe I'll make some more. I have a lot of stories to tell, a lot of lessons learned, unfortunately, but also fortunately. I'm in a time in my life where I don't need to worry about all that. I can make mistakes and still recover, still have friends to fall back on and family. And I totally forgot what I just said. Anyways, to, you know, wrap it up. I really suck at this, sorry, but to wrap it up, don't make the mistake that I did. Don't shut yourself out of people's lives. Sometimes there are people that you will reach out to and try and be friends with, and they won't want to be friends with you. At least to the degree that you want, or maybe they don't want anything to do with you. To those people, say not fuck them, but just you don't need to go scraping at their heels to try and get the attention that you deserve as a human being. Attention or love that you deserve, but really try and find those friends, and keep trying to find those friends that will give you the same level of dedication that you will to them. And don't give up. It took me a bit, and I did give up. I will say, going into my third year here, I gave up, and then the two other grad students came in, and they totally flipped and turned back on that switch of wanting to try and reach out to people. And I'm so glad that happened, but you know, partially my fault. Don't get yourself hooked up in video games and stay in your room all day. That was what was happening to me for a bit. You know, it happens. Especially during like COVID and stuff, everybody's freaking out. And, you know, learn from my mistakes maybe, but sometimes you need to make your own mistakes to learn, and like to learn from them. I really only learn from mistakes. People, you know, you can tell me something, but sometimes I just need to do it to learn it. And sometimes that may be the case for you, but this is just kind of a forewarning, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Have a good one, guys, and you know, if you like this style of content, or depending on how much outreach this gets, you know, leave a like, I don't know, comment, do something like that, but yeah. Have a good one.
Which one?
Who are left?
Are you driving?
See you, Don.
No, that was not